Hello, I'd like to talk about That Dragon Cancer, and That Dragon Cancer is on Kickstarter now, so you should definitely check it out. There's a link below. That Dragon Cancer is a game that's gotten a lot of press, and certainly I imagine you're familiar with it, but if you're not, it's a story about the Green family. Ryan Green is the one of the developers on the game, and he had a son, Joel, with terminal brain cancer, and it's about spending time with Joel and going through that very difficult life experience. And I had the great fortune of being able to play an early build of the game. And it's amazingly powerful. It was difficult for me to play. I was like holding back tears the entire time because it's positively heartbreaking, and it's extremely well done and really gets you. And they've done several viewings or showings at PAX and other events, and I think it's always received well. But the thing that is most interesting to me about it is that it's not really a game in the sense of the word, but I would argue that doesn't matter. Maybe that wasn't so clear, but basically it's not gamey at all. And I would say that if you don't want to call it a game, that's fine. It's interactive entertainment. It's interactive art, and I think it shows how we've outgrown the word game. And certainly if you look at stuff on the Atari 2600, it was games, right? And I think the word game now is not a very accurate description of the breadth of things we can do in interactive entertainment, and I think, or interactive art. I mean, I don't know if people consider, being utterly heartbroken entertainment, so to speak, but just like how depressing films can be entertainment, arguably the same could be said for games, and I don't even think that Dragon Cancer is intended to be depressing. I think it's more about hope and love. But for me, I don't know, maybe it's just the way I perceive things, like just the crushing despair is what strikes me about the game. At least in the sections I've played. I'm sure there's some more hopeful things and probably some more difficult things. But it's a really well done game. But to me, it's less of a game. It has more in common with like a poem than it does with traditional games, and I think that's an interesting point that we're sort of at in the field of interactive entertainment or video games. And I think that Dragon Cancer really pushes boundaries and shows us what we can do with the interactive medium beyond challenging or fun game mechanics. And certainly that was something that we tried to do with Neverending Nightmares, but I think with Neverending Nightmares we had expectations, and I think people were expecting it to be a game, and when it's not very gamey, it's more about the atmosphere and the mood. I'm not sure, if we prepared people for what it was, Neverending Nightmares was going to be like well enough, or just that maybe people weren't ready for it. But I think that Dragon Cancer I'm not sure people go into that knowing what to expect. I mean, certainly we say psychological horror, so people think, oh, you know, Neverending Nightmares, it's going to be like Silent Hill. But with That Dragon Cancer, I'm not sure anyone has even tried to create something to chronicle such a personal and difficult journey. And certainly Neverending Nightmares tried to be personal but Neverending Nightmares is very abstract, whereas That Dragon Cancer straddles a line that I think is really, really well done, where some things are abstract and some things are, metaphorical. Like it rains inside a room where you're talking to the doctor, and I think that's really great to show the feelings, the inner turmoil, but then also, it has very concrete conversations between Ryan and his family about Joel and about the health, and so it's amazing just how well done it is, and I think perhaps even if it wasn't what people were setting out to play, like, oh, I'm going to play this immersive journey, this struggle, this poem showing, a family's dedication to their dying son. I think even if people aren't really, don't really know what to expect, I think they'll be pleased with the results. And I think for us as game developers, again, the quotation fingers, because again, I think game is not a good name for it. I think we're creating, interactive art, and certainly there can be your Jerry Bruckheimer interactive art, and then you can have much more thoughtful things like That Dragon Cancer is really powerful, and certainly with Neverending Nightmares we kind of set out to be the David Lynch of, I wanted to create something really Lynchian for Neverending Nightmares, and obviously I think it's very difficult to, meet the bar of David Lynch, and I wouldn't say we were successful, completely at least, but that's what we tried to do, and I think it's great that Neverending Nightmares and That Dragon Cancer can exist, and certainly I think That Dragon Cancer is pushing boundaries even further than we tried to do, because we do have traditional game mechanics. There's some light stealth, running away from enemies. There are enemies, whereas That Dragon Cancer maybe almost plays like Myst. You can't really walk everywhere. You can't interact with everything, but it's a space for you to explore. You can look around, and I think that's important, but it has very simple controls. It's something that anyone can pick up and play. It's not the standard first-person things. It's like you move around, or you look around with one stick, and then you interact with another button. And I love that sort of elegant design, and perhaps we simplified the controls a little too much for Neverending Nightmares. One could argue that, but I think things that can be played on an NES controller are, that is a level of accessibility that is great. You can get non-gamers, you can get anyone to play, NES games. That was when things could be understood, but I have trouble with the complicated controls of AAA games. I played a lot of Borderlands, the pre-sequel, and then I went to play The Last of Us Left Behind, and then Last of Us Remastered thing, and then I kept pressing the Xbox X button to reload, which I guess is what, Square on PS4 for, and then that definitely does not reload in Last of Us. Reload is like R2 when you're not bringing out the gun, and so I mean, like, I played through the entire DLC and I still didn't get the hang of the controls because my mind was still in, you know, Borderlands pre-sequel mode, and so I don't know, maybe I just suck. Certainly that I'm not willing to take that off the table, but I think simple controls are really elegant, and I think that's something great about that Dragon Cancer, because I think it could have a much broader audience than just gamers, which I think is really important, and that's something we try to do with Neverending Nightmares, but I don't really expect that Neverending Nightmares will have that far reach. I mean, we wanted to leave it open to anyone, but I mean, again, it is more of an enthusiast, a horror sort of enthusiast style game. So anyway, that Dragon Cancer is awesome, and you should definitely take a look at their Kickstarter. Thanks for watching.